My granddaughter looked me dead in the eyes and said, "Cancel your doctor's appointment and take me to my volleyball game tomorrow." I thought she was joking until her hand struck my face, hard. The sting burned, not just on my cheek, but deep in my heart. "You selfish old thing," she hissed. "My future matters more than yours ever did." I stood frozen, trembling, realizing the little girl I once rocked to sleep had turned into someone who saw me as nothing but an obstacle. That was the day something in me broke. And for the first time, I walked away. Before I continue, please click like, subscribe, and comment where you're watching from, because what happened next will show you that sometimes the quietest revenge is living a life they can no longer control. You know, they say blood is thicker than water, but nobody tells you what happens when that blood turns poisonous. Nobody warns you that the child you sacrifice everything for can become the very person who destroys you piece by piece. I'm 68 years old. My name doesn't matter anymore. What matters is that for the longest time, I forgot I even had one. I became grandma and nothing else. I became a walking ATM, a chauffeur, a maid, a punching bag for someone else's dreams and frustrations. My hands are weathered now, marked with age spots and scars from a lifetime of giving. These hands once held my daughter when she took her first breath, and they held her again when she took her last. These same hands raised her daughter, my granddaughter, from the time she was 7 years old. But let me tell you something that burns in my chest every single day. There's a difference between being needed and being used. And it took me 68 years and a slap across the face to finally understand that difference. I used to have dreams, you know. Before my world collapsed and reformed around someone else's needs, I had plans. I wanted to travel to Ireland. My grandmother always told me stories about the green hills and the music that floated through the air like magic. I had a garden once, with roses that bloomed so magnificently that neighbors would stop just to admire them. I had friends who would call me by my first name, not just grandma or the old lady. I had a life. But life has a way of taking your plans and shredding them like old newspapers. When my daughter Sarah was killed in that car accident, drunk driver, if you must know, someone who walked away without a scratch while my baby girl died on impact, everything I was died with her. Sarah was 28. Young, beautiful, full of fire and dreams. She was going to be a teacher, wanted to change the world one child at a time. Instead, she left behind a 7-year-old daughter who barely understood why mommy wasn't coming home anymore. So I stepped in. What choice did I have? Emily was all I had left of Sarah. She had her mother's eyes, those same brown eyes that used to look at me with such love and admiration. I thought if I poured everything into her, if I sacrificed everything I was for everything she could become, somehow I could keep Sarah alive through her. What a fool I was. Every month, my pension check would arrive, $873. Not much for most people, but it was my lifeline. Do you know where that money went? Not to my medications, though my doctor kept warning me about my heart condition. Not to proper food, though my bones ached from the cheap pasta and canned soup diet I lived on. Not to heating bills, though I spent winters wrapped in blankets, because I couldn't afford to keep the thermostat above 60 degrees. No, that money went to Emily's volleyball camps, to her expensive athletic shoes that cost more than I spent on groceries in 2 months, to her private coaching sessions and tournament fees and team uniforms and equipment bags and protein shakes and everything else that her future demanded. Grandma, I need new knee pads. These ones are from last season. $80. Grandma, the team is doing a training camp in California. I have to go or I'll lose my spot. $600. Grandma, everyone has these new water bottles with the temperature control. I can't be the only one with a regular one. $45. And like a fool, I said yes every single time. I said yes because I remembered being 7 years old myself, wanting things I couldn't have, feeling different from the other kids. I said yes because I thought love meant saying yes. I said yes because every time I looked at her, I saw Sarah, and I couldn't bear the thought of failing Sarah's daughter the way I felt I had failed Sarah herself. You want to know what failure really looks like? It looks like ignoring the chest pains that started when Emily turned 15. It looks like canceling doctor's appointments because they conflicted with volleyball schedules. It looks like taking half doses of heart medication to make the prescription last longer because the copays were eating into Emily's college fund. It looks like dying slowly while convincing yourself you're living for someone else. The warning signs were all there. The shortness of breath when I climbed the stairs. The dizzy spells that left me gripping the kitchen counter. The night sweats and the irregular heartbeat that felt like a bird trapped in my chest. My doctor, the one I saw maybe twice a year when I absolutely couldn't avoid it anymore, kept telling me I needed to see a cardiologist. "Mrs. Henderson," Dr. Williams would say, his voice heavy with concern, "your heart is showing signs of serious stress. We need to get you to a specialist immediately." But immediately never came. Because Emily had regionals. Emily had state championships. Emily had college scouts coming to watch her play. Emily's future was always more urgent than my present. I remember the day I finally called the cardiologist's office. It was a Tuesday in March, and I'd been putting it off for 8 months. The earliest appointment they could give me was 4 months away, June 15th, 10:30 in the morning. I wrote that date in my calendar with a red pen. I circled it. I put a star next to it. For the first time in years, I had something on my calendar that was just for me. Something that said I mattered, that my life had value beyond what I could provide for someone else. June 15th became my light at the end of the tunnel. It represented hope. Hope that maybe my heart could be fixed, that maybe I could have a few more years of health, that maybe I could finally take that trip to Ireland before it was too late. I started taking better care of myself in small ways. I bought myself a nice blouse, nothing expensive, just something that made me feel human again. I started walking around the block in the evenings, building up my strength. I even called my old friend Margaret, who I hadn't spoken to in months because I was always too busy with Emily's schedule. The night before my appointment, I laid out my clothes like I was going to church on Easter Sunday. I organized my medical records in a folder. I wrote down all my symptoms and questions on a piece of paper so I wouldn't forget anything important. I set my pills out in a little dish and put my purse by the front door. For the first time in years, I went to bed excited about tomorrow. I should have known it was too good to last. The alarm went off at 7:30. My appointment was at 10:30 and the cardiologist's office was a 40-minute drive away. I wanted to leave early, maybe stop for a cup of coffee somewhere, sit quietly, and mentally prepare for what the doctor might tell me. I was in the kitchen, making myself a piece of toast, real butter, not margarine, because today was special, when Emily stormed in like a hurricane. Her volleyball bag was slung over her shoulder, and her face was already twisted into that expression I'd learned to dread. The expression that said I was about to disappoint her somehow. "Grandma," she said, and even in that one word, I could hear the entitlement dripping like poison. "Cancel your appointment. I need you to drive me to the championship today." My heart, my damaged, struggling heart, skipped a beat. "Honey, what championship? I thought your tournament was next weekend." The schedule changed. She threw her bag on the floor with a dramatic thud. "Coach called last night. The state championship got moved up because of some scheduling conflict with the venue. We have to be there by noon." I stood there, butter knife still in my hand, trying to process what she was saying. "Emily, sweetheart, I can't. I have my appointment today. The one with the heart specialist. I've been waiting 4 months for this." She rolled her eyes. Actually rolled her eyes at me like I was some foolish child who didn't understand how the world worked. "Seriously, Grandma? A doctor's appointment? You can reschedule that. This is the state championship. Do you know what this means for my college applications? Do you know how many scouts are going to be there? Emily, this isn't just any appointment. My heart." "Your heart is fine," she snapped. "You're just being dramatic, like always. You've been complaining about your heart for years, and you're still here, aren't you? But this is my one shot. My one chance to prove myself." The toast in my stomach turned to lead. "Sweetheart, I understand how important this is to you, but I've been waiting 4 months for this appointment. The doctor said it was urgent. I can't just..." "You can't just what? Support your own granddaughter?" Her voice was rising now, taking on that shrill quality that made my chest tighten with anxiety. "Do you know what I've sacrificed for this sport? Do you know how hard I've worked? I wanted to laugh. I wanted to scream. I wanted to ask her if she knew what I had sacrificed. If she knew about the nights I went to bed hungry so she could have proper sports nutrition. If she knew about the times I walked to the grocery store because I couldn't afford gas for both my car and her rides to practice. If she knew that my retirement savings, the money I was supposed to live on for the rest of my life, was almost completely gone because of her dreams. But I didn't say any of that. Instead, I tried to reason with her. Emily, please try to understand. This appointment is really important. My doctor is worried about my heart and what? You're going to die if you don't go today. She said it mockingly, like the very idea was ridiculous. God, Grandma, you're so selfish. Selfish. The word hit me like a physical blow. After everything I had given her, after every sacrifice I had made, after every dream of mine I had abandoned for her sake, she called me selfish. I'm not being selfish, I said quietly. I'm just asking you to understand that sometimes I have needs too. Needs? She laughed, but there was no humor in it. What needs? You sit around the house all day doing nothing. You have no job, no responsibilities, nothing but time on your hands. And the one day I need you, really need you, you choose to be difficult. My hands were shaking now. I set down the butter knife before I dropped it. I'm not choosing to be difficult. I'm choosing to take care of my health. Your health. Emily's voice was getting louder, more venomous. Your health isn't going anywhere, Grandma. But my scholarship opportunities are. This is my future we're talking about. My life. And you want to throw it away for some stupid appointment where the doctor is just going to tell you to take your pills and come back in 6 months. You don't know that, I said, and I could hear my own voice getting weaker, more uncertain. The way she was talking to me, the complete disregard for my well-being, was making me question everything. Was I being selfish? Was my appointment really that important? I do know that, she shot back. Because you're fine, Grandma. You're just old and dramatic and you like the attention you get from doctors fussing over you. The words cut deep. Deeper than she could possibly know. Because part of me, the part that had been beaten down by years of putting everyone else first, wondered if she was right. Maybe I was being dramatic. Maybe my heart problems weren't as serious as I thought. Maybe I was just a lonely old woman who enjoyed having medical professionals pay attention to me. But then I remembered Dr. Williams's face when he listened to my heart at my last appointment. I remembered the way his expression changed, the urgency in his voice when he told me I needed to see the cardiologist right away. Emily, I said, trying one more time, please understand. This appointment could save my life. That's when something in her face shifted. The irritation transformed into something colder, something meaner. She stepped closer to me, and for the first time, I felt afraid of my own granddaughter. Save your life, she hissed. What life, Grandma? What exactly are you living for? You have no friends, no hobbies, nothing that makes you happy except taking care of me. And now you want to abandon that for what? To add a few more miserable years to your existence. I felt like she had reached into my chest and squeezed my heart in her fist. Because in some twisted way, she was right. What was I living for? When had my world become so small that it consisted of nothing but her needs and my medical appointments? But that didn't make her cruelty acceptable. That didn't make it right. Emily, please don't talk to me like that. I love you more than anything in this world. But nothing, she exploded. If you really loved me, you'd do this one thing for me. You'd put my future first for once instead of wallowing in your own self-pity. For once. The words escaped before I could stop them. Emily, when have I ever not put your future first? Are you serious right now? She was practically screaming now. You're always complaining about money, always making me feel guilty about the things I need for volleyball. You act like I'm some kind of burden instead of being grateful that I'm going to be successful enough to take care of you when you're really old and useless. Useless. There was that word again. The word that had been echoing in my head for months, getting louder every day. The word that described exactly how I felt most of the time. I don't make you feel guilty, I said weakly. I just sometimes money is tight and what? You want me to give up my dreams because you're poor? You want me to settle for some community college and a normal life because you can't afford to support my talent? My talent. Not our family. Not our future together. My talent. As if everything I had given her was her birthright, something she deserved rather than something I had chosen to sacrifice for. I never said you had to give up your dreams, I whispered. I just said I can't cancel my appointment today. Can't or won't? Can't. Bull. The vulgarity hit me like a slap. Emily never spoke to me like that. Never used that kind of language around me. But here she was, standing in my kitchen, cursing at me like I was some stranger who had wronged her. Grandma, let me make this really simple for you. You have two choices. You can cancel your precious appointment and drive me to the championship like a grandmother who actually cares about her granddaughter's future. Or you can keep your appointment and watch me lose my scholarship opportunities because you were too selfish to help me when it mattered most. I stared at her, this young woman I had raised from childhood, this person I had poured my life into, and I didn't recognize her. Where was the little girl who used to crawl into my lap when she had nightmares? Where was the child who used to draw me pictures and tell me I was the best grandma in the world? When had she turned into this cold, manipulative stranger? Emily, I said, and my voice was barely a whisper now, please don't make me choose between your future and my health. You already chose, she said flatly. And you chose yourself. Just like you always do. Just like I always do. The lie was so brazen, so completely opposite of reality, that for a moment I couldn't even respond. How could she say that to me? How could she stand there and accuse me of being selfish when I had given her everything I had? That's not true, I said finally. That's not true, and you know it. Isn't it? She crossed her arms and stared at me with cold eyes. When's the last time you did something for me without complaining about it? When's the last time you put my needs first without making me feel guilty about it? I wanted to list everything. Every sacrifice. Every midnight when I stayed awake worried about her. Every dollar I'd given her instead of spending on myself. But suddenly I felt so tired, so incredibly exhausted, that I couldn't find the words. Emily, I have done nothing but put your needs first for the last 11 years. 11 years? She laughed bitterly. Grandma, you've been taking care of me, not putting my needs first. There's a difference. Taking care of me is your job. It's what grandparents do. But putting my needs first would mean recognizing that my future is more important than your hypochondria. Hypochondria. She thought my heart condition was hypochondria. The doctor said, she mocked. You know what, Grandma? Doctors say a lot of things, especially to old people who pay them money to listen to their complaints. But this volleyball championship is real. The scouts are real. The scholarship opportunities are real. Your imaginary heart problems can wait. Imaginary. She thought my chest pains and irregular heartbeat and shortness of breath were imaginary. I felt something crack inside me. Not my heart, though that was certainly struggling, but something deeper. Something that had been holding me together for years. They're not imaginary, I said quietly. Prove it, she challenged. Show me one test result that says you're actually dying. Show me one piece of evidence that your heart is really as bad as you claim it is. I couldn't, because I had been avoiding extensive testing, because I had been putting off appointments, because I had been too busy taking care of her to take care of myself. The irony was devastating. I can't prove it because I haven't been able to get the proper testing done, I admitted. That's why today's appointment is so important. Exactly, she said triumphantly. You can't prove it because it's not real. You're just scared of getting old, so you're creating medical drama to get attention. The words hit me like physical blows. Is that really what she thought of me? Is that really how she saw my health concerns? Emily, that's not. I would never. I couldn't finish the sentence. The idea that she thought I was faking illness for attention was so hurtful that it literally took my breath away. Look, Grandma, she said, and her tone became condescending, like she was talking to a child. I get it. You're scared of being alone. You're scared that when I go to college, you'll have nothing left. So you're creating reasons for me to pay attention to you, Reasons for me to feel guilty about leaving you behind. That's not true, I whispered, but even as I said it, I wondered if there was some grain of truth in her accusation. Was I subconsciously exaggerating my health problems because I was afraid of losing her? Isn't it? She pressed. Think about it. Every time I have something important going on with volleyball, suddenly you have a medical crisis. Every time I'm focused on my future, suddenly you need to go to the doctor. I tried to think back over the past few years, tried to remember if there really was a pattern. But my memory felt foggy, confused by the pain of her accusations. I don't do that, I said, but my voice lacked conviction. You do, though. And today is just the latest example. The day of my biggest volleyball competition ever. Suddenly your appointment can't wait another day. I've been waiting 4 months for this appointment. And you can wait 4 more months, she shouted. But I can't wait for this championship. This is happening today, right now, and you're going to make me miss it because of your selfishness. I'm not selfish, I said, but the words felt hollow. Maybe I was selfish. Maybe putting my health first for once in my life was the ultimate act of selfishness. You are selfish, she said coldly. You're the most selfish person I know. You pretend to care about my future, but the moment it actually costs you something, even just one stupid doctor's appointment, you show your true colors. I felt tears starting to form in my eyes. Not from the cruelty of her words, but from the terrible possibility that she might be right. Maybe I was selfish. Maybe my health problems weren't as serious as I thought. Maybe I was just a scared old woman who was too weak to put her granddaughter's needs first when it really mattered. Emily, I said, and my voice was shaking now, please don't say these things to me. Why not? Because the truth hurts? Because you don't like having to face what you really are. What am I? I asked, though I wasn't sure I wanted to hear the answer. You're a selfish old woman who uses guilt and fake illness to control the people around you. You're someone who claims to love me but won't make even the smallest sacrifice for my happiness. Smallest sacrifice. She called canceling a medical appointment I'd waited 4 months for the smallest sacrifice. It's not the smallest sacrifice, I said quietly. This appointment is important to me. Important to you, she repeated mockingly. Do you hear yourself? It's all about you. Your appointment, your health, your needs. What about me? What about what I need? What about what I need? I shot back, and for a moment, my own voice surprised me with its strength. When is it my turn to matter? Your turn? Emily looked at me like I had said something absolutely ridiculous. Grandma, you're old. You've had your turn. You've had your whole life to matter. This is my turn. This is my time. Your turn is over. The words echoed in my head like a death sentence. According to my granddaughter, my life was already finished. I was just taking up space, consuming resources that should go to her instead. My life isn't over, I said weakly. Yes, it is, she said matter-of-factly. And that's okay. That's how life works. The old generation makes sacrifices for the young generation. You're supposed to step aside and let me have my chance. Step aside? Yes. Step aside. Stop pretending that your wants and needs are as important as mine. Stop acting like your remaining years matter as much as my future decades. Accept your role and do what you're supposed to do. What am I supposed to do? Support me. Sacrifice for me. Put my needs first. Always. She said it like it was the most obvious thing in the world. I stared at her, this person I had raised and loved and sacrificed everything for, and I realized that to her, I wasn't a person at all. I was a resource, a tool to be used for her advancement. And when that tool had the audacity to have needs of its own, it became defective, selfish, useless. Emily, I said softly, I have given you everything I have. And that's what you're supposed to do, she exploded. That's what love is. Love is putting the person you care about first, no matter what it costs you. What about your love for me? I asked. Doesn't your love for me mean putting my needs first sometimes? She looked at me like I had asked her to solve some impossible mathematical equation. That's different, she said finally. How is it different? Because you're the adult. You're the grandmother. It's your job to take care of me, not the other way around. I'm not asking you to take care of me, I said desperately. I'm just asking you to understand that sometimes I have needs too. But your needs don't matter as much as mine, she said simply. They can't, because I have my whole life ahead of me, and you don't. There it was. The truth she'd been dancing around. In her mind, my life had no value because it was almost over anyway. My remaining years were worth less than her opportunities because she was young and I was old. My life still matters, I whispered. Does it? She challenged. Really? What are you contributing to the world, Grandma? What are you doing that's so important that it's worth sacrificing my future for? I couldn't answer. Because the truth was, I wasn't contributing anything to the world. I was just existing, just taking up space, just consuming resources that could be better used elsewhere. See, she said triumphantly. You can't even answer that question. Because deep down, you know I'm right. Your life is almost over, and mine is just beginning. It's simple math. Simple math. My decades of love and sacrifice and care had been reduced to simple math, and the equation showed that I was worth less than her volleyball game. I matter, I said, but I wasn't sure I believed it anymore. You matter to me, she said, and for a brief moment, I felt a spark of hope. But that doesn't mean your wants get to override my needs. I love you, Grandma, but I love my future more. She loved her future more than she loved me. The words should have hurt, but instead they brought a strange kind of clarity. Because finally, she was being honest. Finally, she was showing me exactly where I stood in her priorities. Emily, I said, and my voice sounded different now, calmer somehow, I can't cancel my appointment. Her face twisted into something ugly, something I had never seen before. Fine, she spat. Then don't. Keep your stupid appointment. But don't expect me to forgive you when I lose my scholarship because my own grandmother cared more about her imaginary heart problems than my real future. They're not imaginary, I said again, but with less conviction than before.
Prove it, she said again.
Show me you're actually sick. Show me you're actually dying. Because if you're not dying today, if this appointment isn't life or death urgent, then you're choosing to hurt me for no good reason. I thought about Dr. Williams's concerned face, about the chest pains that had been getting worse, about the dizzy spells and irregular heartbeat. Were those symptoms serious enough to justify disappointing Emily? Was my health really more important than her volleyball championship? I don't know, I admitted. You don't know if you're dying? She asked incredulously. I don't know how serious it is, I clarified. That's why I need to see the specialist. So, it's not an emergency. It's not life or death. It's just something you want to do today instead of helping me. When she put it like that, it did sound selfish. It did sound like I was choosing my wants over her needs. Emily, please try to understand. I understand perfectly, she cut me off. I understand that when it came down to choosing between us, you chose yourself. I understand that all those years of telling me I was the most important thing in your life were lies. They weren't lies, I said desperately. You are the most important thing in my life. Then prove it, she said simply. Cancel your appointment and drive me to the championship. We stared at each other across the kitchen, and I felt the weight of 11 years pressing down on me. 11 years of putting her first, of sacrificing my own needs, of making her dreams my priority. And now she was asking me to do it one more time. Just one more time. But this felt different. This felt like the final test, the ultimate proof of my love. And if I failed this test, if I chose my appointment over her championship, then everything I had done for her would be meaningless. I would be revealed as the selfish old woman she accused me of being. Emily, I said quietly, if I cancel this appointment, I might not be able to get another one for months. So what? She shrugged. You've waited this long, haven't you? What's a few more months? A few more months. At my age, with my health problems, a few more months could be the difference between treatment and... I couldn't finish that thought. I'm scared, I admitted. Scared of what? A doctor's appointment? Grandma, you're being ridiculous. Scared that if I wait any longer, it might be too late. Emily rolled her eyes again. Too late for what? You're not dying, Grandma. You're just old and tired and looking for attention. I'm not looking for attention, I said, but even as the words left my mouth, I wondered if they were true. Maybe I was looking for attention. Maybe I was tired of feeling invisible, tired of feeling like my only value was what I could provide for Emily. Then cancel the appointment, she said simply. If you're not looking for attention, if you're not trying to make today about you, then cancel the appointment and help me. It sounded so reasonable when she said it like that. So simple. Just cancel the appointment and help her. Just put her needs first one more time, like I had been doing for 11 years. But something inside me was rebelling. Some small, quiet voice was saying no. Some part of me that had been buried under years of self-sacrifice was finally speaking up, finally demanding to be heard. I can't, I said, and my voice was barely a whisper. You can't or you won't, she asked again, but this time her tone was dangerous. I won't, I said, and the words felt strange in my mouth. Foreign. Selfish. Emily's face went through a series of expressions: surprise, disappointment, anger, and finally something cold and calculating. You know what, Grandma? She said, and her voice was suddenly very quiet. I've spent my whole life thinking you were this amazing woman who gave up everything for me. I've spent years feeling guilty about how much you've sacrificed, how much you've given up for my sake. I felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe she was finally understanding, finally recognizing what I had done for her. But I was wrong, she continued, and the hope died. You didn't sacrifice anything for me. You just used me as an excuse to avoid having your own life. You made me the center of your world because you were too scared to create a world of your own. The words hit me like physical blows. Too scared to create a world of my own. Was that what I had done? Had I used her as an excuse to avoid living my own life? That's not true, I said weakly. Isn't it? She pressed. Think about it, Grandma. When's the last time you did something for yourself that didn't involve me? When's the last time you had a hobby, a friend, an interest that was separate from my life? I tried to think, but she was right. Everything I did revolved around her. Everything I cared about was connected to her success, her happiness, her future. You made me your whole world, she continued, not because you loved me so much, but because you were too afraid to have a world without me. I was afraid, I admitted. After your mother died, I was afraid of losing you too. So, you made me responsible for your happiness. You made me the reason you got up in the morning. You put all that pressure on me, all that guilt, and you called it love. Was she right? Had I been using her to avoid dealing with my own loneliness, my own grief, my own fear of death? Emily, I never meant to. But you did. She cut me off. You did make me responsible for your happiness. And now, when I need you to take responsibility for your own life, when I need you to stop hiding behind me and face your own problems, you're too scared to do it. I'm trying to face my own problems, I protested. That's what the appointment is for. No, the appointment is just another way to avoid taking responsibility. Instead of admitting that you've wasted your life, instead of acknowledging that you've made me carry the weight of your happiness for 11 years, you're creating a medical crisis to distract from the real issue. What's the real issue? I asked, though I wasn't sure I wanted to hear her answer. The real issue is that you're a coward, she said flatly. You're a coward who spent 11 years hiding behind a child instead of figuring out how to be an adult on your own. Coward. The word echoed in my head like a church bell. Was I a coward? Had I been hiding behind her all these years? And now, she continued, when I finally need you to be brave enough to put me first for once, really put me first, not just financially support me while making me feel guilty about it, you're proving that you care more about yourself than you do about me. That's not true, I said, but my voice lacked conviction. Then prove it's not true, she said. Cancel your appointment and drive me to the championship. Show me that you actually care more about my future than your own selfish needs. Selfish needs. That's what my health had become in her eyes. Not legitimate medical concerns, but selfish needs. I looked at my granddaughter, this young woman I had raised and loved and sacrificed everything for, and I saw a stranger. I saw someone who valued me only for what I could do for her. Someone who saw my health as an inconvenience, my needs as selfishness, my life as less important than her volleyball game. Emily, I said quietly, do you love me? The question seemed to catch her off guard. Of course I love you, she said automatically. Do you love me as a person, or do you love what I do for you? She was quiet for a moment, and in that silence, I heard my answer. That's a stupid question, she said finally. Is it? Because right now, it feels like you only value me when I'm useful to you. It feels like the moment I have needs of my own, I become selfish and inconvenient. That's not fair, she protested. Isn't it? Emily, when's the last time you asked me how I was feeling? Not about my health, but about my life? When's the last time you cared about my happiness in a way that didn't directly benefit you? She opened her mouth to answer, then closed it again. You can't answer because you've never thought of me that way, I continued. To you, I'm not a person with my own dreams and fears and needs. I'm just Grandma. I'm just the person who takes care of you. You're the person who takes care of me, she said defensively. That's what grandmothers do. But I'm also a person, I said, and my voice was getting stronger now. I'm a person who's scared and in pain and trying to figure out how to take care of herself for the first time in 11 years. Well, maybe you should have figured that out before now, she snapped. Maybe you should have learned how to take care of yourself instead of making me responsible for your emotional well-being. Maybe I should have, I agreed. But I didn't. And now I'm trying to learn, and instead of supporting me, you're punishing me for it. I'm not punishing you. I'm asking you to help me. You're asking me to choose between my health and your volleyball game. I'm asking you to choose between your hypochondria and my future. There was that word again. Hypochondria. In her mind, my health concerns weren't real. They were just attention-seeking behavior, just another way for me to make everything about myself. Emily, I said, and I felt something shifting inside me, something hardening. What if my health problems are real?
What if I really am sick?
What if this appointment could literally save my life? But you're not sick, she said with absolute certainty. You're just scared and lonely and trying to make me feel guilty for growing up and moving on with my life. What if you're wrong? I'm not wrong. But what if you are? What if I have a heart attack next week because I didn't get the treatment I needed today? How would you feel then? For the first time, I saw a flicker of uncertainty in her eyes. But it was quickly replaced by stubbornness. That's not going to happen, she said firmly. You don't know that. I know you, Grandma. I know you're not dying. I know this is just another one of your dramatic episodes. Dramatic episodes. That's what my health concerns had become in her mind. Not medical issues, but dramatic episodes designed to manipulate her. Emily, I said, and my voice was very quiet now. I need you to listen to me very carefully. I am going to that appointment today. Not because I'm trying to hurt you, not because I don't care about your volleyball championship, but because I am genuinely concerned about my health. Fine, she said, and her voice was ice cold. Go to your precious appointment. But don't expect me to be here when you get back. What does that mean? It means exactly what it sounds like. If you choose your imaginary health problems over my real future, then you're choosing to lose me. The threat hung in the air between us like a sword. Choose her volleyball game, or lose her forever. Emily, you don't mean that. I absolutely mean that. I'm 18 years old, Grandma. I don't need you anymore. I can take care of myself. But I wanted you to be part of my life. I wanted us to have a relationship. We can still have a relationship. Not if you prove that you don't actually love me. Going to a doctor's appointment doesn't prove I don't love you. It proves that you love yourself more than you love me. That's not true. Then cancel the appointment. We were going in circles, trapped in this impossible choice she had created. Cancel the appointment and prove my love, or keep the appointment and lose her forever. Emily, please don't make me choose between. I'm not making you choose anything, she interrupted. I'm just telling you what the consequences are. If you put your selfish needs ahead of my future, then our relationship is over. My needs aren't selfish. Yes, they are. Because they're not as important as mine. Says who? Says logic. She exploded. Says common sense. Says the fact that I have 60 years left to live, and you have maybe 10. 10 years. In her mind, I had 10 years left, and those 10 years were worth less than her volleyball championship. Even if I only have 10 years left, I said quietly, don't those years matter? Don't I deserve to be healthy and pain-free for whatever time I have left? You deserve whatever you've earned, she said coldly. And what you've earned is the right to be proud of my success. The right to watch me achieve my dreams. The right to know that your sacrifices meant something.
What if I want more than that?
What if I want to be healthy enough to travel, to have my own experiences, to live my own life for whatever time I have left? Then you should have thought about that before you made me your entire reason for existing. I made you my reason for existing because I loved you. No, you made me your reason for existing because you were too afraid to find your own reasons. Her words cut deep because there was truth in them. Had I been afraid? Had I used her as an excuse to avoid creating my own meaningful life? Maybe you're right, I admitted. Maybe I have been hiding behind you. But that doesn't mean my health doesn't matter. Your health matters, she conceded. Just not as much as my future. According to who? According to reality, Grandma. According to the way the world works. The old make sacrifices for the young. That's how it's always been. What about the young showing respect and consideration for the old? I do show you respect and consideration. But respect doesn't mean letting your fears override my needs. My fears? Yes, your fears. You're afraid of being alone when I go to college, so you're creating medical drama to keep me tied to you. You're afraid of facing your own mortality, so you're using doctor's appointments as a way to feel important and cared for. Was she right? Was I creating medical drama? Were my health concerns really just manifestations of my fear and loneliness? I thought about the chest pains, the shortness of breath, the irregular heartbeat. They felt real. They felt serious. But maybe they were psychosomatic. Maybe they were my body's way of expressing the emotional pain I couldn't face. I don't know, I said honestly. I don't know if my health problems are real or if they're in my head. That's why I need to see the doctor. The doctor is just going to tell you what I'm telling you, Emily said. That you're fine physically, but you need to work on your emotional issues. And if he tells me I have a serious heart condition, he won't. But if he does,
then I'll apologize, she said simply.
But he won't.
Because you're not sick, Grandma.
You're just scared. I looked at this young woman who was so confident in her assessment of my health, so certain that she knew my body better than I did. How had she become so arrogant? How had she learned to dismiss my experiences so completely? And then I realized I had taught her to dismiss my experiences. For 11 years, I had taught her that my needs came second to hers. I had taught her that my wants were less important than her dreams. I had taught her that my pain was something to be minimized and her happiness was something to be maximized. I had created this monster. I had raised her to believe that I existed solely for her benefit, and now she couldn't understand why I might have needs of my own. Emily, I said, and my voice was very quiet, I think we need to have a serious conversation about our relationship. No, we don't, she said quickly. We need you to cancel your appointment and drive me to the championship. Everything else can wait. No, everything else can't wait. Because this pattern, this dynamic where you think your needs always come first, this has to stop. What pattern? What dynamic? Grandma, you're being dramatic again. I'm not being dramatic. I'm being honest. For 11 years, I have put your needs before my own. I have sacrificed my health, my savings, my social life, my hobbies, everything for your sake. And instead of appreciating that, instead of recognizing what I've given up for you, you've learned to expect it. You've learned to demand it. I don't demand anything, she protested. You're demanding that I cancel my medical appointment. That's different. That's just one thing one time. It's not just one thing one time. It's a pattern. Every time I try to do something for myself, you find a way to make it about you. Every time I try to prioritize my own needs, you guilt me into putting you first. That's not true, isn't it? When I wanted to visit my friend Margaret last month, what happened? You had to drive me to practice, she said defensively. I had already arranged for someone else to drive you to practice. But you made such a fuss about how it would be awkward to ride with someone else's parents, how it would make you look like your grandmother didn't care about you, that I canceled my visit. That was different. How was it different? Because your friend visit wasn't important.
Says who?
How do you get to decide what's important in my life?
Because I know you, Grandma.
I know what really matters to you.
Do you?
Because it seems like you think the only thing that should matter to me is you. That's not true. Then tell me, Emily. Tell me what matters to me besides your volleyball career. She was quiet for a long moment, and I could see her struggling to think of an answer. You care about family, she said finally. What family? You're my only family. And you care about making sure I'm happy and successful. So the only things that matter to me are you and your success. Nothing about me as an individual person. That's not what I meant. But it's what you said. Emily, when's the last time you asked me about my interests, my feelings, my hopes for my own future?
I
don't know. You don't know because you've never asked. Because you've never thought of me as a person with my own inner life. That's not fair. Isn't it? Emily, do you know what my favorite color is? The question seemed to catch her off guard. Your favorite color?
Yes.
Do you know what it is? She was quiet for a moment.
Blue? She guessed.
It's green. It's always been green, like the hills in Ireland that I've always dreamed of seeing. Okay, so your favorite color is green. So what? So you've lived with me for 11 years, and you don't even know my favorite color. How can you claim to know what's important to me when you don't even know the most basic things about who I am as a person? Your favorite color isn't important, Grandma. Maybe not to you, but it's part of who I am. And the fact that you don't know it, don't care to know it, shows how little you actually think about me as an individual. I think about you all the time, she protested. You think about me as your grandmother. You think about me as the person who takes care of you. But you don't think about me as Margaret Henderson, a woman who once had dreams and hopes and interests beyond taking care of her granddaughter. Margaret Henderson died when Mom died, Emily said bluntly. You became Grandma, and that's who you are now. The words hit me like a physical blow. In her mind, my individual identity had died with my daughter. I had ceased to exist as anything other than her caretaker. Is that really what you think? I asked quietly. That's what you taught me to think, she said. You never talked about yourself, never pursued your own interests, never acted like you had a life beyond me. How was I supposed to know you wanted to be treated like an individual when you never acted like an individual? She was right, and that made it hurt even more. I had erased myself so completely for her sake that she had never learned to see me as a full person. You're right, I admitted. I did teach you to see me that way. But Emily, I'm trying to change that now. I'm trying to reclaim some sense of myself as an individual. Well, you picked a really bad time to do it, she said bitterly. Did I? Or is there never going to be a good time? Is there ever going to be a moment when you think it's okay for me to put my needs first? When I'm established in my career, when I'm financially stable and don't need your support anymore, then you can worry about yourself.
When will that be?
I don't know.
A few years, maybe.
A few years. And until then, I should just ignore my health problems and continue sacrificing everything for you. That's what grandparents do, Grandma. No, Emily. That's what doormats do. And I'm tired of being a doormat. The words surprised even me. I had never thought of myself as a doormat before, but that's exactly what I had become. A person who existed solely for other people to walk on. You're not a doormat, Emily said, but her voice lacked conviction. Yes, I am. And you've learned to treat me like one. You've learned to expect me to sacrifice everything for your convenience, and you've learned to punish me when I don't. I'm not punishing you. You're threatening to cut me out of your life if I don't cancel my medical appointment. How is that not punishment? It's not punishment, it's consequences. There's a difference. What's the difference? Punishment is when someone does something wrong and you make them pay for it. Consequences are when someone makes a choice and they have to live with the results. So in your mind, choosing to prioritize my health is doing something wrong? Choosing to prioritize your imaginary health problems over my real future is doing something wrong. Yes, imaginary. She kept coming back to that word. In her mind, My health problems weren't real, so my choice to prioritize them was not just selfish, but irrational. Emily, I said, and I could feel my patience finally running out. What if you're wrong? What if my health problems are real? What if I really do need this appointment? Then you should have taken better care of yourself before now, she said harshly. You should have gone to the doctor regularly instead of putting it off. You should have prioritized your health when it wasn't inconvenient for me. I put it off because I was too busy taking care of you.
That was your choice, Grandma.
Nobody forced you to neglect your health. You're right. It was my choice. And it was the wrong choice. But that doesn't mean I should keep making the wrong choice now. Yes, it does. Because now is when I need you most. You've needed me for 11 years, Emily. When is it my turn to need something? After I'm successful. After I've achieved my goals. After I don't need you anymore.
What if I'm dead by then?
You're not going to be dead, she said dismissively. You don't know that. Yes, I do. Because you're too stubborn to die. The comment was meant to be lighthearted, but it felt cruel. She was so confident that my health problems were nothing serious that she could joke about my mortality. Emily, I said, and my voice was very quiet now, I'm going to ask you one more time to please understand why this appointment is important to me. And I'm going to tell you one more time that your appointment can wait and my championship can't. And if I still refuse to cancel, then you're choosing your selfishness over my future. And you're choosing your convenience over my health. My future isn't convenience, Grandma. It's everything. It's my whole life. And my health is my whole life too. No, it's not. Your health is just your health. My future affects everything. My career, my relationships, my financial stability, my happiness, everything. My health affects everything too. If I'm not healthy, I can't take care of myself. I can't enjoy whatever years I have left. I can't. You can't what? You can't sit around the house feeling sorry for yourself? You can't make me feel guilty for having dreams and ambitions? I can't live, I said simply. You're already barely living, Grandma. You've been barely living for 11 years. At least my future represents real life, real possibilities, real hope. Barely living. In her mind, my existence for the past 11 years hadn't even qualified as real life. Maybe you're right, I said quietly. Maybe I've been barely living. But that doesn't mean I want to keep barely living. That doesn't mean I should give up on the possibility of actually living before I die. What does actually living even mean to you? It means being healthy enough to travel. It means having the energy to pursue interests and hobbies. It means feeling like I matter as an individual person, not just as someone's caretaker.
Those are fantasies, Grandma.
You're 68 years old. You don't get to start over at 68.
Says who? Says reality. Says biology. Says common sense.
People start over at 68 all the time. Rich people start over at 68. Poor old women just get older and sicker until they die. So I should just accept that my life is over? I should just wait around to die? You should accept that your life is what it is and find meaning in helping me build my life. What if I want to build my own life? With what? You have no money, no skills, no social connections, no realistic prospects for the future. I'm the only meaningful thing in your life, Grandma. I'm your only hope for happiness. The words were devastating because they contained so much truth. I didn't have money or skills or social connections. I had isolated myself so completely for her sake that she really was the only meaningful thing in my life. Maybe you're right, I admitted. Maybe I don't have realistic prospects for building a new life. But that doesn't mean I should ignore my health. It means you should prioritize the one good thing in your life, me, over the impossible dream of having some kind of independent existence. What if I want to try for that impossible dream anyway? Then you're being selfish and delusional. Maybe I am being selfish. Maybe after 11 years of putting you first, I've earned the right to be a little selfish. No, you haven't, she said firmly. You haven't earned anything except the right to be proud of what I accomplish with the foundation you've given me. What if I want more than that? Then you want too much. Says who?
Says me.
Says the granddaughter you claim to love more than anything in the world. I do love you more than anything in the world. But that doesn't mean I love myself less than nothing. It should. The words hung in the air like a toxic cloud. In her mind, loving her should mean loving myself less than nothing. My love for her should be so complete, so total, that I ceased to have any value in my own eyes. Emily, I said, and my voice was barely a whisper. That's not love. That's worship. And worship isn't healthy for either of us.
I don't want your worship, Grandma.
I just want your support. You have my support. You've had my support for 11 years. But support doesn't mean erasing myself completely. It does when your self doesn't matter as much as my future. My self does matter. To who? Who cares about yourself besides you? The question hit me like a slap. She was right. Who did care about me as an individual? I had no friends left, no family besides her, no community connections. I had erased myself so completely that there was no one left who valued me for who I was rather than what I could provide. Maybe no one cares about myself, I admitted. But I'm starting to care. Well, stop, she said bluntly. Stop caring about yourself and start caring about what really matters. You, my future, our future, the life we're building together. What about the life I might build for myself? What life, Grandma? What possible life could you build at 68 with no money, no skills, and failing health? I don't know, but I'd like the chance to find out. There's nothing to find out. This is it. This is your life. Taking care of me, supporting my dreams, being proud of my accomplishments. That's all you get, and you should be grateful for it. Grateful? Yes, grateful. Do you know how many old people have nothing? No family, no purpose, no reason to get up in the morning? You have me. You have my success to look forward to, my achievements to be proud of. That's more than most people your age have. What if I want to have my own achievements to be proud of?
Like what?
What could you possibly achieve at your age that would matter? I don't know. Maybe nothing. But I'd like the chance to try. The chance to try is over, Grandma. You had 68 years to achieve things, and this is where you ended up. Accept it. I can't accept it.
Why not?
Because accepting it means accepting that my life is over while I'm still breathing. Your life as an individual is over. But your life as my grandmother, your life as the foundation for my success, that's just beginning. What if I don't want to be just a foundation? What if I want to be a person? You can't be both. You don't have the resources to be both. So you have to choose. I choose to be a person. Then you choose to lose me. Emily, please don't make me choose between. I'm not making you choose anything. She exploded. I'm just telling you what the consequences are. If you choose to be a selfish old woman who cares more about her imaginary health problems than her granddaughter's real future, then you lose your granddaughter. It's that simple. It's not that simple. Yes, it is. It's exactly that simple. Cancel your appointment and drive me to the championship, or lose me forever. And if I choose to lose you forever, then you'll spend whatever years you have left alone, knowing that you threw away the most important relationship in your life for the sake of one stupid doctor's appointment. What if the appointment saves my life? What if it doesn't? What if it's exactly what I think it is? A waste of time that cost you everything that matters. Then I'll deal with the consequences. The consequences are dying alone, Grandma. The consequences are having no one who cares about you, no one who remembers your name, no one who will even notice when you're gone. Maybe that's better than living as someone's unpaid servant. Unpaid servant? Her voice was shrill with outrage. Is that what you think you are? Sometimes. I can't believe you just said that. I can't believe you think taking care of me, the child you claim to love, makes you a servant. I don't think taking care of you makes me a servant. I think being expected to sacrifice everything for you, including my health, makes me a servant. You're not sacrificing everything. You're sacrificing one stupid appointment. I'm sacrificing my right to prioritize my own well-being. You're right. You're right. Grandma, what about my right to have a grandmother who supports me? What about my right to have someone in my corner when it matters most? You do have someone in your corner. You've had someone in your corner for 11 years. Then prove it. Cancel your appointment and drive me to the championship. And if I don't, then you prove that you never really loved me at all. The accusation hung in the air between us like a death sentence. Cancel my appointment or prove I never loved her. Emily, I said quietly, if loving you means ignoring my health, then maybe my love isn't healthy for either of us. Your health is fine. Your health problems are in your head.
You don't know that. I know you.
I've lived with you for 11 years. You're not sick. You're just scared and lonely and desperate for attention. What if you're wrong? I'm not wrong. But what if you are? What if I have a serious heart condition? What if this appointment could literally save my life? Would you still want me to cancel it? She was quiet for a long moment, and for the first time, I saw genuine uncertainty in her eyes. You don't have a serious heart condition, she said finally, but her voice lacked its earlier conviction. You don't know that for certain. Yes, I do.
How?
Because if you did, you would have gotten treatment before now. Because if you were really sick, really dying, you wouldn't have waited 4 months for an appointment. I waited 4 months because this was the earliest appointment I could get. And I've been avoiding doctors because I was too busy taking care of you. That's not my fault. I'm not saying it's your fault. I'm saying it's the reality. And now I'm trying to finally take care of myself, and you're punishing me for it. I'm not punishing you. I'm just telling you that choices have consequences. What are the consequences if I cancel this appointment and my health gets worse? Your health isn't going to get worse because there's nothing wrong with your health. You keep saying that, but you're not a doctor. I don't need to be a doctor to know when someone is faking symptoms for attention. I'm not faking symptoms. Then what are your symptoms?
Describe them to me.
I have chest pains, shortness of breath, irregular heartbeat, dizzy spells. All of which could be anxiety, she interrupted. All of which could be psychosomatic. All of which could be your body's way of expressing emotional distress rather than actual physical illness. They could be. Or they could be signs of a serious heart condition. But they're not. How do you know? Because you're still here. Because you're still functioning. Because if you had a serious heart condition, you would have had a heart attack by now. That's not how heart conditions work, Emily. Yes, it is. Serious heart conditions kill people. They don't just cause vague symptoms for years and years. That's not true, and you know it. It is true. You're just trying to make your imaginary problems sound more serious than they are. I stared at her, this young woman who was so confident in her medical knowledge, so certain that she knew my body better than I did. How had she become so arrogant? How had she learned to dismiss my experiences so completely? And then, in a moment of terrible clarity, I realized something. She wasn't just dismissing my health concerns because she thought they were imaginary. She was dismissing them because acknowledging their reality would force her to confront the possibility that I might not always be available to serve her needs. Emily, I said quietly, are you scared that if I'm really sick, you'll have to take care of me instead of me taking care of you? That's ridiculous.
Is it?
Because right now, you depend on me for transportation, financial support, emotional encouragement, and practical help. If I become seriously ill, all of that disappears. And maybe you're not ready for that kind of independence. I am ready for independence, she said defensively. I've been ready for years. Then why are you so upset about me taking one day to focus on my health? Because it's the wrong day. Because today is important for my future. And my health isn't important for my future? You don't have much of a future left, Grandma. The words hit me like a physical blow. In her mind, I was already so close to death that my health didn't matter anymore. Everyone has a future until they die, I said quietly. Even old people. Old people have limited time left, so they should use it wisely. And in your opinion, using my time wisely means sacrificing my health for your volleyball game? It means prioritizing what really matters. My health really matters.
To me, if not to you.
Your health matters, but not as much as my future. Says who? Says common sense. Says the fact that I have decades left to live and you have years. So, my remaining years don't count as much as your future decades? No, they don't. That's just reality, Grandma. That's just how life works. That's how you think life works. But I don't agree. You don't get to disagree with reality. I get to disagree with your interpretation of what matters and what doesn't. My interpretation is based on logic and facts. Your interpretation is based on selfishness and fear. Maybe it is. Maybe I am being selfish and fearful. But maybe after 11 years of putting you first, I've earned the right to be a little selfish and fearful. No, you haven't. Love doesn't work that way. Love doesn't have an expiration date where you suddenly get to stop caring about the other person. I'm not stopping caring about you. I'm starting to care about myself too. There's no room for both. Says who? Says our situation. Says our resources. Says the fact that we can't afford for both of us to be selfish at the same time. How is taking care of my health being selfish? Because it interferes with taking care of my needs. Your needs are more important than my health. Yes, they are.
Why?
Because I'm young and you're old. Because I have potential and you don't. Because I represent the future and you represent the past. The words cut deep because there was truth in them. I was old. My potential was limited. I did represent the past more than the future. But did that really make my life worth less than hers? Maybe you're right, I said quietly. Maybe I don't have much potential left. Maybe I do represent the past. But that doesn't mean I should just give up on myself completely. It means you should invest in the future, my future, instead of clinging to the past. What if I want to invest in my own present? Your present isn't worth investing in. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. According to my granddaughter, my present, my current life, my current needs, my current happiness, wasn't worth investing in. Emily, I said, and my voice was very quiet, do you really believe that my life has no value? Your life has value as my grandmother. But your life as an individual, separate from me, has no value because there's nothing you can accomplish at your age that would matter. What if mattering to myself is enough? It's not enough. It's selfish and delusional. Why is it selfish for me to matter to myself? Because you have someone else to matter to. You have me. Your value comes from being my grandmother, from supporting my dreams, from helping me achieve my potential. What if I want to have my own value? You can't afford your own value. We can't afford for you to have your own value. There's only room in our lives for one person's dreams and ambitions, and those have to be mine because I'm the one with the future. So, I should just accept that I exist solely for your benefit? You should accept that your purpose in life is to help me fulfill my purpose. What if I want to have my own purpose? Your own purpose is impossible at your age with your limitations. You don't know that. Yes, I do. Grandma, look at yourself. Really look at yourself. You're 68 years old. You have heart problems. You have no money, no job skills, no social connections. What possible purpose could you have other than helping me? I don't know, but I'd like the chance to find out. The chance to find out is over.
This is your life now.
Accepting that isn't giving up, it's being realistic. What if I don't want to be realistic? Then you're being foolish. And foolish old women end up alone and forgotten. Maybe alone is better than being someone's unpaid servant. You keep saying that, but it's not true. I don't treat you like a servant. Don't you? You expect me to drive you places, pay for things, sacrifice my own needs for your convenience. And when I try to do something for myself, you threaten to cut me out of your life. That's not treating you like a servant. That's treating you like a grandmother who should prioritize her granddaughter's needs. What's the difference? The difference is that I love you and appreciate you and want you in my life. A servant is someone you don't care about personally. Do you care about me personally, or do you care about what I do for you? That's a stupid question. No, it's not. It's the most important question in our relationship. Do you love me as a person, or do you love me as a provider? She was quiet for a long moment, and in that silence, I heard my answer. I love you as my grandmother, she said finally. What does that mean? It means I love you for who you are in my life. And who am I in your life? You're the person who takes care of me, who supports me, who helps me achieve my dreams. So you love me for what I do, not for who I am. Who you are is someone who takes care of me and supports me. Is that all I am? That's all that matters.
To you?
Yes, to me. And since I'm the only family you have left, that's all that should matter to you too. The logic was airtight and devastating. Since she was my only remaining family, her opinion of my value was the only opinion that mattered. And in her opinion, my value lay solely in what I could provide for her. Emily, I said quietly, what would happen if I couldn't take care of you anymore? If I became too sick or too poor or too weak to support your dreams? That's not going to happen. But if it did, what if my health problems are real and they get worse? What if I end up needing care instead of providing it? Then I would take care of you, she said, but her voice lacked conviction. Would you? Would you sacrifice your dreams to take care of me the way I've sacrificed mine to take care of you? That's different. How is it different? Because you chose to sacrifice your dreams. I never asked you to give up everything for me. You're asking me to give up my health appointment for you right now. That's one appointment, not my whole life. And if I need ongoing medical care? If I need regular appointments, medications, treatments? Would you support that the way I've supported your volleyball career? That's not going to happen. But if it did, I can't think about hypotheticals right now, Grandma. I have to focus on what's happening today. What's happening today is that you're asking me to choose between your volleyball game and my health. I'm asking you to choose between my real future and your imaginary health crisis. And I'm asking you to consider the possibility that my health crisis might be real. It's not real. You don't know that for certain. I know you. I know when you're being dramatic. What if this time I'm not being dramatic? What if this time it's serious? Then I'll deal with it later. After the championship. What if later is too late? It won't be. You can't guarantee that. I can guarantee that you're not dying today. I can guarantee that your appointment can wait another day or another week. You can't guarantee anything about my health because you're not a doctor. I don't need to be a doctor to know when someone is manipulating me. You think I'm manipulating you? I think you're using emotional manipulation to try to make me feel guilty for having needs and priorities of my own. The accusation was so backwards, so completely opposite of what was actually happening, that for a moment I couldn't respond. She was the one using emotional manipulation. She was the one trying to make me feel guilty for having needs and priorities of my own. Emily, I said finally, you're the one who's trying to make me feel guilty. You're the one who's using emotional manipulation. No, I'm not. I'm just telling you how I feel. You're telling me that if I don't sacrifice my health for your convenience, you'll cut me out of your life forever. How is that not emotional manipulation? It's not manipulation, it's honesty. I'm being honest about what this choice means to me. And I'm being honest about what this choice means to me. Your feelings don't matter as much as mine. Says who? Says reality. Says the fact that this is the most important day of my volleyball career and just another day in your medical anxiety. You don't know that this is just another day in my medical anxiety. You don't know how serious my symptoms are. I know they're not serious enough to justify ruining my life. How would keeping my doctor's appointment ruin your life? Because I'll miss the championship. Because I'll lose my chance to impress the college scouts. Because my whole future will be derailed. Can't you find another ride to the championship? At the last minute? No. What about calling a taxi? Or rideshare? With what money? You know I don't have money for expensive transportation. What about calling another team member's family? I can't just impose on other families like that. Why not? It's an emergency. It's not an emergency. It's my selfish grandmother choosing her hypochondria over my future. It's not hypochondria. Yes, it is. And even if it's not, even if you do have some minor heart problems, they're not more important than my championship. Why not? Because you're old and I'm young. Because your life is basically over and mine is just beginning. Because my opportunities matter more than your comfort. My health isn't just about comfort. It's about survival. You're not dying today, Grandma. You don't know that. Yes, I do. How? Because if you were really dying, really in immediate danger, you would have gone to the emergency room. The fact that you're waiting for a scheduled appointment proves that it's not urgent. It proves that I can't afford emergency room bills. It proves that I've been waiting months for this appointment, and I don't want to lose it. It proves that you're not actually in danger. No, it proves that I'm poor and scared and trying to be responsible about my healthcare. Responsible healthcare would have been taking care of yourself years ago instead of putting all your attention on me. You're right. It would have been. But I didn't, and now I'm trying to make up for lost time. Too bad. It's too late now. It's not too late. Yes, it is. You made your choice to neglect your health, and now you have to live with the consequences. The consequences of neglecting my health are that I need medical attention now. The consequences of neglecting your health are that you don't get to suddenly make your health a priority when it's inconvenient for me. When would it be convenient for you? After I'm established in my career. After I don't need you anymore.
When will that be?
I don't know. A few years. I might not have a few years if my health problems are serious. Your health problems aren't serious. You keep saying that, but you're basing that on absolutely nothing. I'm basing it on 11 years of living with you and watching you create drama whenever you want attention. I don't create drama for attention. Yes, you do. You always have. Whenever I have something important going on, suddenly you have a crisis that requires my attention and sympathy. That's not true. It is true. Remember when I had my first varsity game? Suddenly you had a migraine and needed me to take care of you. I did have a migraine. A convenient migraine that happened to occur on the most important day of my volleyball season at that point. Migraines aren't convenient or inconvenient. They just happen. And they seem to happen a lot when I have important events. I tried to think back, tried to remember if there really was a pattern. Had I subconsciously created medical crises to compete with her volleyball schedule? I don't think I do that, I said, but my voice lacked conviction. You do. You might not realize you're doing it, but you do. And today is just the latest example. Today is different. How is it different? Because this isn't just a headache or a minor complaint. This is potentially serious. According to who? Have any doctors told you it's serious? Dr. Williams said I needed to see a cardiologist urgently. Dr. Williams says everything urgently. He's a family doctor, not a specialist. He probably just wants to cover his liability by referring you to a cardiologist. You don't know that. I know that you've been complaining about your heart for years, and you're still alive and functioning. People can have heart problems for years before they become life-threatening. And people can have anxiety that manifests as heart symptoms for years too. This isn't anxiety. How do you know? Because I know my body.
Do you?
Because you've spent 11 years ignoring your body and focusing on me instead. How can you suddenly be so sure about what your body is telling you? The question hit me hard because there was truth in it. Had I been so focused on her for so long that I had lost touch with my own physical sensations? Was I misinterpreting anxiety as heart problems? I don't know, I admitted. Maybe I am misreading my symptoms. Maybe they are anxiety-related. But that's why I need to see the specialist. The specialist is just going to tell you to exercise more and take anxiety medication. You don't know that. I know that 90% of the time, when older women think they have heart problems, it turns out to be anxiety or menopause or some other non-life-threatening condition. Where did you get that statistic? It's common knowledge. It's not common knowledge. You're making it up. I'm not making it up. I'm using logic and probability. You're using assumptions and wishful thinking. I'm using the fact that if you had serious heart disease, you would have had symptoms before now. You would have had a heart attack or some kind of cardiac event. That's not how heart disease works. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Many people have heart disease for years before they have a major cardiac event. Well, it doesn't matter because you don't have heart disease. You don't know that.
I know you.
I know when you're being honest about physical symptoms and when you're exaggerating for effect. I'm not exaggerating. You always exaggerate when you want sympathy or attention. I don't want sympathy or attention. I want medical care. You want sympathy and attention, and you're using medical care as an excuse to get them. That's not true. It is true. And the fact that you're willing to sacrifice my future for the sake of getting doctors to pay attention to you proves how selfish and manipulative you really are. I'm not sacrificing your future. I'm trying to protect my health. Your health doesn't need protecting because there's nothing wrong with it. You're not qualified to make that determination. I'm qualified to recognize emotional manipulation when I see it. And I'm qualified to recognize entitlement and selfishness when I see it. I'm not entitled or selfish. I'm just asking for support from the person who's supposed to love me. I do love you. But love doesn't mean sacrificing my health for your convenience. It does when my convenience is actually my future and your health is actually your anxiety. My health problems are not anxiety. Prove it. I can't prove it without seeing a doctor. Then see a doctor tomorrow. Or next week. Or whenever it's convenient for me. What if it's never convenient for you? It will be convenient when I don't need you for other things.
When will that be?
When I'm financially independent and have my own transportation and don't rely on you for practical support. So, I should neglect my health until you don't need me anymore? You should prioritize my needs until I'm capable of meeting them myself. And if my health deteriorates while I'm waiting, it won't deteriorate because there's nothing wrong with your health. You keep saying that like it's a fact. It is a fact. Based on what evidence? Based on the fact that you're still here, still functioning, still capable of taking care of me. Being functional doesn't mean being healthy. Being functional means you're healthy enough. Healthy enough for what? Healthy enough to postpone your medical appointment for one day. What if I'm not? You are.
You don't know that.
I know that you're not going to collapse and die in the next 24 hours. You can't guarantee that. I can guarantee that the odds of you having a medical emergency today are much lower than the odds of me losing scholarship opportunities if I miss this championship. You're comparing probabilities that you can't actually calculate. I'm comparing realistic risks to imaginary fears. My fears aren't imaginary. Yes, they are. Your fear of dying today is imaginary. Your fear of your health problems being serious is imaginary. Your fear of what will happen if you postpone your appointment is imaginary. And your fear of missing one volleyball game destroying your future isn't imaginary? No, because my fears are based on real consequences. If I miss this championship, I really will lose opportunities. But if you postpone your appointment, nothing bad will actually happen. You don't know that nothing bad will happen. I know that the odds of something bad happening are tiny compared to the certainty of something bad happening if I miss my championship. The certainty? Yes, the certainty. If I miss this championship, I will definitely lose opportunities. But if you postpone your appointment, you will probably be fine. Probably isn't good enough when we're talking about my health. Probably is all we ever get in life, Grandma. Nothing is certain. But we have to make decisions based on probabilities, and the probability is that your health will be fine for another day or week. The probability is that your volleyball career will be fine if you miss one game. No, it won't. This isn't just one game. It's the state championship. This is the game that college scouts attend. This is my one chance to prove myself at the highest level. And this is my one chance to find out if I have a serious heart condition. You don't have a serious heart condition. You don't know that. I know that you've been saying you have heart problems for years, and nothing has happened. Nothing has happened because I haven't been able to get proper medical evaluation. Nothing has happened because there's nothing to happen. Or nothing has happened yet because I've been lucky. You're not lucky, Grandma. You're anxious. And you're using that anxiety to try to control me. I'm not trying to control you. Yes, you are. You're trying to use guilt and fear to make me give up something important to me. You're the one using guilt and fear. You're threatening to cut me out of your life if I don't do what you want. I'm not threatening anything. I'm just telling you what the natural consequences are. The natural consequences? Yes. If you prove that you don't actually care about my future, then naturally I won't want you involved in my future. Going to a medical appointment doesn't prove I don't care about your future. Going to a medical appointment instead of supporting me at the most important moment of my athletic career proves that you care more about yourself than you care about me. It proves that I'm trying to balance caring about you with caring about myself. There's nothing to balance. You should care about me more than you care about yourself. Says who? Says the fact that I'm your granddaughter, and you're supposed to love me more than anything. I do love you more than anything. But that doesn't mean I should love myself less than nothing. It means you should love yourself less than me.
Why?
Because that's what family love means. It means putting the other person first. What about you putting me first? I'm 18. I don't have to put anyone else first until I have children of my own. So love is a one-way street? I put you first and you put yourself first? Yes, until I'm old enough and established enough to start putting other people first.
When will that be?
When I'm your age. So for the next 50 years, I should put you first, and you should put yourself first?
Yes.
That doesn't sound like love. That sounds like servitude. That sounds like the way families work. That sounds like the way dysfunctional families work. Our family isn't dysfunctional. Our family is just structured around the reality that the older generation supports the younger generation. What about the younger generation showing respect and consideration for the older generation? I do show you respect and consideration.
Do you?
Because right now you're calling my health concerns imaginary, dismissing my needs as less important than your wants, and threatening to abandon me if I don't do exactly what you demand. I'm not threatening to abandon you. I'm just explaining what happens when someone proves they don't actually love you. And in your mind, going to a medical appointment proves I don't love you? Going to a medical appointment instead of supporting me at the most important moment of my life proves you don't love me enough. Enough for what? Enough to deserve my love in return. The words hit me like a physical blow. My love had to be proven worthy of hers. I had to earn her love by sacrificing everything for her convenience. Emily, I said quietly, love shouldn't have to be earned over and over again. Yes, it should. Love should be proven by actions, not just words. I've been proving my love with actions for 11 years. And I'm asking you to prove it one more time. By sacrificing my health. By postponing one appointment. Which could put my health at risk. Which will not put your health at risk because there's nothing wrong with your health. You're not qualified to make that determination. I'm qualified to recognize when someone is being dramatic and manipulative. And I'm qualified to recognize when someone is being entitled and selfish. I'm not entitled or selfish for asking my grandmother to support me. You're entitled and selfish for demanding that I sacrifice my health to support you. Your health doesn't require sacrificing because your health problems are imaginary. Stop calling them imaginary. The words came out louder than I intended, and for a moment, we both stood in stunned silence. I had never raised my voice to Emily before. I had never shown anger toward her, never pushed back against her demands with real force. Don't yell at me, she said quietly, and for the first time, I heard uncertainty in her voice. Then don't dismiss my health concerns as imaginary. They are imaginary. No, they're not. Then prove they're not. I can't prove they're not without seeing a doctor. Then see a doctor after my championship.
No.
The word hung in the air between us. Simple, final, definitive.
No. No?
Emily's voice was barely a whisper.
No.
I will not postpone my medical appointment for your volleyball game. It's not a volleyball game. It's the state championship. It's a volleyball game. And my health is more important than any volleyball game. My future is more important than your hypochondria. My health is not hypochondria, and even if it was, it would still be more important than one volleyball game. This isn't one volleyball game. This is my entire future. No, it's not. It's one game. You'll have other opportunities. No, I won't.
This is it.
This is my one chance. That's not true, and you know it. It is true. If I miss this championship, if I don't play in front of the college scouts, I'll never get another opportunity like this. You're 17 years old. You'll have plenty of other opportunities. I'm 18. You're 18 years old. You have your entire life ahead of you. One missed game is not going to destroy your future. Yes, it will. No, it won't. And the fact that you think it will shows how entitled and dramatic you've become. I'm not entitled or dramatic. I'm realistic about how competitive college athletics are. You're realistic about athletics, but you're completely unrealistic about my health. Your health is fine. You don't know that. I know that you're standing here arguing with me instead of collapsing from a heart attack, so obviously you're not dying. Not dying today doesn't mean not having serious health problems. Not having serious health problems means not having serious health problems. And how do you know I don't have serious health problems? Because you're fine. Look at yourself. You're fine.
I don't feel fine.
You feel anxious. There's a difference. I feel chest pain and shortness of breath and irregular heartbeat. You feel anxiety symptoms that you're interpreting as heart symptoms. You're not a doctor. I don't need to be a doctor to recognize anxiety when I see it. And I don't need to be a doctor to recognize when my own body is telling me something is wrong. Your body is telling you that you're stressed about making this choice. That's anxiety, not heart disease. My body has been telling me something is wrong for months. Your body has been expressing anxiety for months. How do you know the difference? Because I know you, and I know when you're being anxious versus when you're actually sick. You don't know the difference any more than I do. I know that you always get sick when I have important events. I don't always get sick when you have important events. You do. You might not realize it, but you do. Give me examples. Your migraine before my first varsity game. Your stomach problems before my college application deadlines. Your back pain before my tournament last spring. I tried to remember these incidents, tried to figure out if there really was a pattern. Had I subconsciously created health crises to compete with her achievements? Those were real health issues, I said, but my voice lacked conviction. They were real symptoms of anxiety about me growing up and becoming independent. You think I get sick because I'm anxious about you becoming independent? I think you get sick because you're scared of being alone. Maybe I am scared of being alone. But that doesn't mean my health problems are fake. It means your health problems are emotional, not physical. Emotional problems can cause physical symptoms. Exactly. So your heart problems are really anxiety problems. Or, my anxiety problems are being caused by real heart problems. That's not how it works. How do you know how it works? Because I've taken psychology classes. Because I understand how the mind affects the body. Taking psychology classes doesn't make you qualified to diagnose my health problems. Taking psychology classes makes me qualified to recognize when someone is using physical symptoms to express emotional distress. And what emotional distress am I expressing? Your fear of me leaving you behind. Your anxiety about having no purpose in life after I go to college. Your terror of being alone with nothing but your own thoughts for company. The words cut deep because they contained so much truth. Was I afraid of her leaving me behind? Was I terrified of being alone? Was I creating medical drama to delay her independence? Maybe you're right, I admitted. Maybe I am scared of being alone. Maybe I am anxious about my purpose after you leave. But that doesn't mean my heart problems are imaginary. It means your heart problems are a symptom of your real problem, which is your inability to let me grow up. I want you to grow up. No, you don't. You want me to stay dependent on you forever so you can continue feeling needed and important. That's not true. It is true. And the proof is that you're willing to sabotage my independence by making me miss the most important game of my life. I'm not sabotaging your independence. I'm trying to take care of my health. You're trying to prevent me from achieving success because you're threatened by the idea of me not needing you anymore. I want you to be successful. No, you want me to be successful in a way that keeps me tied to you. You want me to achieve just enough to make you feel proud, but not enough to become truly independent. That's not true. It is true. And the fact that you're choosing today to have a medical crisis proves it. I'm not having a medical crisis. I'm going to a doctor's appointment that I scheduled months ago. A doctor's appointment that you could easily reschedule if you actually cared about my success. A doctor's appointment that I've been waiting 4 months for and that I can't reschedule without waiting another 4 months. So, wait another 4 months. I might not have another 4 months if my heart problems are serious. Your heart problems aren't serious because they're not real. They feel real to me. Anxiety feels real too. That doesn't make it a heart attack. I'm not having a heart attack. I'm having symptoms that need to be evaluated by a specialist. You're having symptoms that need to be evaluated by a psychiatrist. You think I'm mentally ill? I think you're emotionally distressed and expressing the distress through physical symptoms. And you think the solution is for me to ignore those symptoms? I think the solution is for you to address the real problem, which is your inability to let me have my own life. I want you to have your own life. No, you don't. Because if I have my own life, you'll have to figure out how to have your own life too. And you're too scared to do that. The accusation hit me like a slap. Was she right? Was I too scared to have my own life? Had I been using her as an excuse to avoid figuring out who I was as an individual? Maybe you're right, I said quietly. Maybe I am scared of having my own life. Maybe I have been using you as an excuse to avoid facing my own loneliness and lack of purpose. For a moment, Emily looked surprised that I had admitted it. If you know that's what you're doing, she said, then you can choose to stop doing it. I can choose to stop using you as an excuse for not having my own life. But that doesn't mean my health problems are fake. It means your health problems are a symptom of your emotional problems. Maybe they are.
But they still need to be addressed.
By a therapist, not a cardiologist. Maybe by both. Not today. Yes, today. Today I start taking care of myself, both emotionally and physically. Today you choose between taking care of yourself and taking care of me. Today I choose to take care of myself for the first time in 11 years.
And what about me?
What about you? What happens to me while you're focusing on taking care of yourself? You take care of yourself. Like the adult you claim to be. I need you to drive me to the championship. Find another way to get there. I don't have another way. Then figure one out.
How can you say that to me?
How can you just abandon me when I need you most? I'm not abandoning you. I'm refusing to sacrifice my health for your convenience. My championship isn't convenience. It's my future. And my health is my future. You don't have a future. You're 68 years old. I have whatever future I have left. And I want it to be healthy. You want it to be selfish. Maybe I do. Maybe after 11 years of selflessness, I've earned the right to be a little selfish. You haven't earned anything except the right to be proud of my success. I've earned the right to prioritize my own well-being. No, you haven't.
Says who? Says me.
Says your granddaughter, who has given meaning to your life for 11 years. You didn't give meaning to my life. I gave meaning to my life by choosing to take care of you. And now you're choosing to stop taking care of me. I'm choosing to start taking care of myself too. There's no room for both. Yes, there is. No, there's not. Our family doesn't have the resources for both of us to be selfish at the same time. Taking care of my health isn't being selfish. Yes, it is when it interferes with taking care of me. Your needs don't always come first. Yes, they do. Says who? Says reality. Says the fact that I'm young and you're old. Says the fact that I have potential and you don't. I have potential too. For what? What could you possibly achieve at your age that would matter? I could achieve peace. I could achieve health. I could achieve some small measure of happiness in whatever years I have left. Those aren't achievements. Those are just basic life maintenance. Maybe basic life maintenance is enough for me. Basic life maintenance isn't worth sacrificing my future for. Your future isn't being sacrificed. One volleyball game isn't your entire future. This volleyball game is my entire future. No, it's not. And the fact that you think it is shows how distorted your perspective has become. My perspective isn't distorted. Your perspective is distorted. You think your comfort is more important than my dreams. I think my health is more important than your volleyball game. It's not a volleyball game. It's the state championship. It's a game. A sport. Entertainment. My health is life or death. Your health isn't life or death because there's nothing wrong with your health. You don't know that. I know that you're not dying today. I know that you're not going to die if you miss one volleyball game. I will die. My dreams will die. My future will die. No, they won't. You're being dramatic. I'm being realistic. And you're being selfish. We stood there staring at each other, both breathing hard, both convinced that the other was being unreasonable. And then something in Emily's face shifted. The anger transformed into something colder, something more calculating. You know what, Grandma? She said, and her voice was very quiet. I've been trying to convince you to do the right thing. I've been trying to appeal to your love for me, to your sense of family loyalty, to your understanding of how important this day is. Emily, but I can see that none of that matters to you. I can see that you've already made your choice. I've made the choice to take care of my health. You've made the choice to abandon me when I need you most. That's not what I'm doing. That's exactly what you're doing. And you know what? Fine. Go to your precious appointment. Find out that there's nothing wrong with you except anxiety and guilt over being a terrible grandmother. Emily, please don't. No, I'm done. I'm done trying to convince you to love me. I'm done trying to make you understand what this means to me. You've shown me exactly who you are and what I mean to you. You mean everything to me. No, I don't. Your imaginary health problems mean more to you than I do. My health problems aren't imaginary. We'll see about that, won't we? When you come back from your appointment and the doctor tells you that you're fine, when you realize that you threw away the most important relationship in your life for nothing, then you'll understand what you've done. And if the doctor tells me I have a serious heart condition, he won't. But if he does, then I'll deal with that when it happens. Will you? Will you apologize for calling me selfish and dramatic? Will you regret trying to make me choose between my health and your volleyball game? It's not a volleyball game. Will you regret it? She was quiet for a long moment, and I could see her struggling with the possibility that she might be wrong. You're not sick, she said finally. So it doesn't matter. It does matter. Because even if I'm not sick, your reaction to my health concerns shows how little you actually care about my well-being. I care about your well-being. No, you care about my usefulness. And the moment I stop being useful, the moment I have needs of my own, you turn cruel. I'm not cruel. You've been cruel to me this entire morning. You've dismissed my concerns, called me selfish and dramatic, threatened to abandon me, and demanded that I sacrifice my health for your convenience.
I've been honest with you.
You've been entitled and manipulative. I've been desperate. This is the most important day of my life, and you're destroying it. I'm not destroying anything. I'm going to a doctor's appointment. You're destroying our relationship. No, Emily. You're destroying our relationship. By making it impossible for me to have needs of my own, by treating me like I exist solely for your benefit, by showing me that your love is conditional on my complete submission to your wants. My love isn't conditional. Yes, it is. You just told me that if I go to this appointment, you'll cut me out of your life forever. I told you that I won't be able to trust you anymore if you prove that you don't actually love me. And in your mind, having health concerns proves I don't love you? Having imaginary health concerns that you use to manipulate me proves you don't love me. My health concerns aren't imaginary, and I'm not using them to manipulate you. Then what are you doing? I'm trying to take care of myself for the first time in 11 years. You're trying to control me by making me feel guilty for having my own priorities. You're the one trying to control me by demanding that I sacrifice my health for your priorities. My priorities matter more than yours. Says who? Says logic. Says reality. Says the fact that you're old and I'm young. Says your selfishness and entitlement. I'm not selfish or entitled. You're demanding that I ignore my health problems to drive you to a volleyball game. If that's not selfish and entitled, what is? That's asking for support from family. That's demanding sacrifice from someone you claim to love. Love requires sacrifice. It requires mutual sacrifice. But you're not willing to sacrifice anything for me. I've sacrificed 11 years of normal teenage experiences because I've had to live with you instead of having a normal family. The words hung in the air like poison gas. I had never known that she saw living with me as a sacrifice, as something that had deprived her of a normal life. Emily, I said quietly, I never knew you felt that way.
Of course I felt that way.
Do you think I wanted to live with my grandmother instead of having parents like everyone else? Do you think I wanted to be the kid whose family situation was weird and complicated? I did the best I could. I know you did. And I've never complained about it. I've never made you feel guilty about the fact that I had to give up having a normal family because my mother died. You're making me feel guilty about it now. Because you're being selfish now. Because for once in your life, I'm asking you to acknowledge what I've sacrificed and to give me something in return. I've given you everything. You've given me what you wanted to give me. But you've never given me what I actually needed. What did you need that I didn't give you? I needed a grandmother who was happy and fulfilled and had her own life, so I wouldn't have to carry the weight of being your entire reason for existing. The words hit me like a physical blow. She was right. I had made her my entire reason for existing, and that had been a terrible burden to place on a child. You're right, I admitted. I did make you carry that weight. I did make you responsible for my happiness in ways that weren't fair to you. So why are you doing it again now? I'm not doing it again. I'm trying to stop doing it. No, you're making your health problems my responsibility. You're making me choose between my future and your well-being. You're the one who created that choice. I never asked you to choose. I just told you I couldn't drive you to your game.
And you know that means I can't go.
Then find another way to go. There is no other way. There's always another way. You're just not willing to explore your options because you expect me to solve all your problems for you. I don't expect you to solve all my problems. You expect me to drop everything to drive you to a volleyball game at the last minute. It's not at the last minute. And it's not just a volleyball game. When did you find out the schedule had changed? Last night. And when did you tell me about it? This morning. So you waited until this morning, knowing I had my appointment today, to tell me you needed a ride to a rescheduled game? I didn't wait. I told you as soon as I saw you. Why didn't you tell me last night? Because I was hoping I could figure out another way to get there. And did you try to figure out another way?
Yes.
What did you try? I called Sarah's mom, but she's working today. Who else did you call? That was the only option I could think of. You could only think of one other option? In a whole team full of families? I don't know the other families that well. You've been on this team for how long? 2 years. 2 years. And you don't know any of the other families well enough to ask for a ride to the state championship? It's not that simple. It is that simple. You just don't want to have to ask for favors from people who aren't your grandmother. That's not true. Isn't it? You'd rather demand that I sacrifice my health than ask another team family for help. I'm not demanding anything. I'm asking you to prioritize what's really important. My health is really important. More important than my future? More important than one volleyball game. Yes. It's not one volleyball game. It's one volleyball game. And if missing one game destroys your entire future, then your future was never very secure to begin with. That's a horrible thing to say.
It's a realistic thing to say.
You're supposed to support me, not tear down my dreams. I am supporting you. I've supported you for 11 years. But I can't support you at the expense of my own health. You can support me at the expense of one doctor's appointment. No, I can't. Why not? Because I've spent 11 years putting your needs before my own, and I need to start putting my own needs first sometimes. This is the wrong time to start. There will never be a right time according to you. There will be a right time when it doesn't interfere with something important to me. Everything is important to you, Emily. Your practice schedule is important. Your tournament schedule is important. Your college applications are important. Your social life is important. When is it my turn to have something important? When I don't need you anymore.
When will that be?
I don't know. You don't know because you don't want me to stop needing you. You want me to be available for your convenience forever. I want you to be my grandmother forever. Being your grandmother doesn't mean being your servant. I don't treat you like a servant. You treat me like someone who exists solely for your benefit. That's what grandmothers are for. No, Emily. That's what you think grandmothers are for. But grandmothers are people too. We have our own needs and feelings and health concerns. Your health concerns aren't real. Stop saying that. They're not real. You don't know that. I know you. I know when you're being dramatic. You don't know me as well as you think you do. I know that you're not dying today. And I know that you're not going to die if you miss one volleyball game.
My dreams will die.
Your dreams are stronger than one missed game, or they're not dreams worth having. How can you say that to me? How can you dismiss something that means everything to me? How can you dismiss my health concerns as imaginary? How can you demand that I sacrifice something that could literally save my life? Because your life isn't as important as my future. The words hung in the air between us like a death sentence. In her mind, my life, my remaining years, my health, my well-being was less important than her volleyball career. Emily, I said very quietly, did you just tell me that my life isn't as important as your future? I told you that your remaining years aren't as important as my future decades. Do you really believe that?
Yes.
Do you really believe that my life has no value compared to your ambitions? I believe that your life has value as my grandmother. But your individual life, separate from me, has less value than my potential achievements. Because I'm old? Because you're old, and I'm young. Because you've already lived most of your life, and I haven't lived any of mine yet. So older people's lives matter less than younger people's lives? Older people's remaining time matters less than younger people's potential. Says who? Says logic. Says biology. Says the way the world works. The way you think the world works. The way the world actually works. Old people die, young people live. Old people sacrifice. Young people achieve. That's how it's always been. That's not how it has to be. That's how it is in our family. That's how it's been in our family. But I'm trying to change that. You can't change biology, Grandma. You can't change the fact that you're old and I'm young. I can change the fact that I matter less than you do. You don't matter less than me. You just matter differently. How do I matter? You matter as the person who helps me achieve my potential. And how do I matter as an individual? You don't. Not anymore. Your time for mattering as an individual is over. The words felt like a death sentence. According to my granddaughter, my time for mattering as an individual person was over. I existed now only in relation to her needs. Emily, I said, and my voice was barely a whisper. I can't accept that. You have to accept it. It's reality. It's your version of reality. But I reject that version. You can't reject reality just because you don't like it. I can reject the idea that my life has no individual value. Your life has value. Just not the kind of value that's worth sacrificing my future for. And that's where we disagree. That's where you're wrong. No, Emily. That's where you're wrong. My life, my health, my well-being, they have value in their own right, not just in relation to what I can do for you. That's a nice fantasy, but it's not practical. It's not a fantasy. It's the truth I'm finally ready to embrace. The truth is that you're old and I'm young, and the young matter more than the old. The truth is that we both matter, and I'm done pretending that you matter more than I do. I do matter more than you do. No, you don't. Yes, I do. And if you can't accept that, if you can't put my needs first when it really matters, then we don't have a relationship anymore. Then we don't have a relationship anymore. The words came out of my mouth before I could stop them. Clear, final, devastating. If she couldn't accept that I mattered too, then we didn't have a relationship anymore. For a moment, Emily looked shocked. I don't think she had expected me to call her bluff. You don't mean that, she said quietly. I do mean it. You're choosing your imaginary health problems over me? I'm choosing my real health concerns over your emotional manipulation. This is an emotional manipulation. You're threatening to cut me out of your life if I don't do exactly what you want. That's the definition of emotional manipulation. I'm telling you what happens when someone proves they don't love you. And I'm telling you what happens when someone proves they don't respect you. I do respect you. No, you don't. You don't respect my intelligence, my judgment, my feelings, or my right to make decisions about my own health. I respect you as my grandmother. You don't respect me as a person. You are my grandmother. That's who you are. I'm also a person. A person with my own needs and feelings and concerns. Your needs and feelings and concerns don't matter as much as mine. Yes, they do. No, they don't. Then we have nothing more to talk about. I walked past her toward the front door, my purse already in my hand. For the first time in 11 years, I was going to put my own needs first. For the first time in 11 years, I was going to choose myself. Where are you going? Emily called after me. To my doctor's appointment. What about me? What about my championship? Figure it out yourself. You're 18 years old. You're an adult. Act like one. I can't get there without you. Then you'll miss it. And maybe that will teach you that actions have consequences. You can't just leave me. I stopped at the door and turned back to look at her. This young woman I had raised, this person I had sacrificed everything for, this child I had loved more than my own life. Emily, I said quietly, you just told me that my life doesn't matter as much as your volleyball career. You just told me that my health concerns are imaginary and that I exist solely to serve your needs. What exactly am I leaving? You're leaving your granddaughter, who loves you. You don't love me, Emily. You love what I do for you. And I'm tired of being loved only for my usefulness. That's not true. Then prove it's not true. Show me that you care about my well-being even when it's inconvenient for you. I do care about your well-being. No, you care about my well-being when it doesn't interfere with your plans. Your appointment can wait one day. Your volleyball game can wait for you to find your own transportation. I can't find my own transportation. You can if you really want to go.
How? Call a taxi.
Call a rideshare. Call other team families.
Call your coach.
Figure it out. I can't afford a taxi or a rideshare. Then call other families. I don't know them well enough. Then get to know them. This is part of becoming an adult, Emily. Learning to solve your own problems instead of expecting other people to drop everything for your convenience. You're supposed to be there for me. I am here for you. I've been here for you for 11 years. But I can't be here for you at the expense of my own health. Your health is fine. My health is my responsibility. Just like getting to your volleyball game is your responsibility. Getting to my volleyball game is your responsibility as my grandmother. No, it's not. Being your grandmother means loving you and supporting you and guiding you. It doesn't mean sacrificing my health for your convenience. It means putting me first. It means loving you. And love doesn't require me to destroy myself for your benefit. You're not destroying yourself. You're postponing one appointment. I'm not postponing this appointment, Emily. I'm going to find out if I have a serious heart condition. And if you can't support that, if you can't understand why that's important to me, then maybe we don't know each other as well as we thought. I know that you're being selfish and dramatic. And I know that you're being entitled and manipulative. I'm not manipulative. You're threatening to abandon me if I don't do what you want. How is that not manipulative? It's not a threat. It's a consequence. It's emotional blackmail. It's honesty. It's cruelty. I'm not cruel. You've been cruel to me all morning, dismissing my health concerns, calling me selfish, threatening to cut me out of your life. That's cruel, Emily. I'm desperate.
So am I.
I'm desperate to find out if I have a serious heart condition. I'm desperate to finally put my health first. I'm desperate to stop being treated like I exist solely for your benefit. You do exist for my benefit. That's what grandmothers do. That's what you've been taught to think grandmothers do. But it's not true. Grandmothers are people with their own lives and needs and concerns. Your life is taking care of me. Because today is the day I finally put my health first. Why does it have to be today? Because I've been waiting 4 months for this appointment, and I'm not waiting any longer. You could wait one more day. I could. But I won't. Why not? Because I'm done putting your convenience ahead of my health. It's not convenience. It's my future. It's one volleyball game, Emily. And my health is more important to me than any volleyball game. How can you be so selfish? How can you be so entitled? I'm not entitled. I'm your granddaughter. Being my granddaughter doesn't entitle you to my health. Being my granddaughter entitles me to your support. You have my support. You've had my support for 11 years. But support doesn't mean sacrificing my health. It means prioritizing my needs. Sometimes. But not always. It means prioritizing my needs when they're really important. My health is really important too. Not as important as my championship.
More important to me.
We stood there staring at each other across the distance between the front door and the driveway. She was my granddaughter, the child I had raised and loved and sacrificed everything for. But she was also a young woman who had learned to see me as existing solely for her benefit. Emily, I said quietly, I love you. I will always love you. But I can't continue to love you at the expense of loving myself. What does that mean? It means I'm going to my appointment. And you're going to figure out your own transportation. And if I can't figure it out, then you'll miss your game. And we'll both survive. I won't survive. Yes, you will. You're stronger than you think. I'm not strong without you. Then it's time to learn to be strong on your own. I don't want to be strong on my own. I know. But you don't have a choice. I do have a choice. I can choose to never forgive you for this. That's your choice to make. You don't care if I never forgive you? I care. But I can't let your threats control my decisions anymore. They're not threats. They're consequences. Call them whatever you want. I'm still going to my appointment. And I'm still never forgiving you. That's your choice, Emily. But it's a choice you'll have to live with. You'll have to live with it too. I'll live with it. Because I'd rather live with your anger than die from neglecting my health. You're not going to die. I hope not. But I'm going to find out. I got in my car and started the engine. Through the windshield, I could see Emily standing in the doorway, her face twisted with anger and disbelief. She had never imagined that I would actually choose my health over her convenience. But I was choosing. For the first time in 11 years, I was choosing myself. As I backed out of the driveway, I could hear her shouting after me, calling me selfish, calling me cruel, calling me the worst grandmother in the world. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was selfish. Maybe I was cruel. Maybe I was a terrible grandmother. But for the first time in years, I was also choosing to be a person who mattered. A person whose health was important. A person who deserved to prioritize her own well-being. And as I drove toward my appointment, toward whatever the cardiologist might tell me about my heart, I felt something I hadn't felt in 11 years. I felt free.